Welcome, brother. How are we?
I'm alright, how are you?
Fantastic, man. So you're saying you're here with Top Blokes?
Yeah.
Straight into it. How's your involvement with that? How'd you get involved with that?
Look, at school, I am known as a good kid. Like, a lot of people know me, and I know a lot of people. I'm good, I'm a leader.
Yeah.
A lot of the staff members like me.
Yeah.
And I was just selected by like one of the teachers. His name is Mr. Morris. I like him. He saw my name. He saw the program, and then he said that my name immediately came to his mind.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right. Like, I was kind of like, okay, this is just gonna be some program. I'm gonna have to just sit here and sit with others.
Yeah.
You know, maybe I won't enjoy it too much.
Yeah.
But then I kind of felt like a week in, 2 weeks in, 3 weeks, I was like, yeah, I'm coming here more often. Because I felt like I didn't have to be this kind of kid. I was myself, just a 15-year-old boy.
Yeah.
And it was so good to kind of be on the same line of other kids whom I haven't spoken to since year 7. Being in year 10 now, everyone goes their different paths. Spoke to this one kid. He was in my class in year 7.
Yeah.
And I never spoke to him again, like since that year. But being in Top Blokes, I was able to tell him how funny he used to make year 7 and how much of an inspiration he is to me now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So tell me, how come, like, you know, once you started doing the course, like started doing the Top Blokes program, you wanted to stay more after those 2-3 weeks? Like, what was it that kind of like made you more excited to do it, getting more involved?
Well, initially it was because it created a separate community. You have a community at school, but no one's really connected. Everyone has their own kind of groups, their own cliques.
Yeah.
And I found that, you know, you grab a small group of boys, and if you force them together, they actually get along well.
Yeah.
And I guess as the program went on, it really tackled issues that I liked, you know, the how masculinity, it really tackled those kind of topics.
Yeah, how come you thought like those topics about masculinity and stuff like that, why was that some sort of like an interest to you? Like how did that come about? Like, how did you think about, what was the first time you really heard about masculinity? I
guess nowadays there's a lot of content on YouTube. There's a lot of content like regarding what it's like to be a man, and nowadays you see it a lot that masculinity is often obscured.
Yeah.
The definition of a man is really, I guess, slowly being forgotten. And Top Blokes kind of reminded us as a group, us as individuals, what it's like to be a man, and the responsibility of what it's like to be a man.
Yeah.
And I actually have this book by Marcus Aurelius, philosopher and
Stoic.
Yeah,
beautiful
philosopher
man.
and emperor. Meditations.
Yeah.
And one meditation of his, I really liked it because it stood out to me. And it kind of went with the Top Blokes kind of theme. There should be no more roundabout discussion of what it means to be a good man. Be one. And I really like that. And Top Blokes, at the end of it, kind of gave its definition to masculinity, and it's just being a good man. And I think that's a lot of people need to be that. A lot of people just need to stop arguing about what it is to be a good man and just need to be one.
Yeah. You are a bit of a philosopher and stoic at a young age there, aren't you?
Thank you.
Who do you reckon you get that off? How's your parents, like, is your dad like kind of like that, or are you just...
Oh no, my dad's not that like really philosophy.
Yeah.
I love my dad.
Yeah.
He's
Where does this all come from? Is it from like just you exploring, you know, you seeing what, you know, being a man on the internet and stuff, seeing all these things, and then start doing this program, right? And it kind of, because you're so interested in it, you've learned, you know, more of this, or is like, where does it stem from? Like, where does the interest come from?
I think it did start just like year 9, year 10-ish.
Yeah.
Just kind of because of content, you know, I'm like trying to figure out, okay, I want to make a name for myself. I want to find out who is Salim Sarkis. And well, yeah, so I guess you're right. It starts off with the kind of online stuff. It starts off online, trying to figure out your own identity, not trying to follow off. Because so many people are born as originals, but many die as photocopies.
Yeah. So in terms of the Top Blokes programs, man, like, you know, it goes for 2 terms in high school, right?
Yeah.
You discuss a lot of topics in it, do you?
Yeah.
What was kind of like your kind of like, what did you gravitate towards when like you were doing the program? Is there any certain topics that you're talking about?
Yeah, there was the alcohol one.
Yeah.
Because, well, I guess Australia has a very big drinking culture.
Yeah.
And especially, well, it's certainly not a culture, like a Lebanese culture thing. You know, everyone has, I guess, barbecues, family gatherings. But for mine, we always have like a barbecue every second Sunday. On occasions, you know, like birthdays or New Year's to Christmas, there's always just going to be a bottle of vodka cruiser just sitting there. And well, I never drank. You know, I knew it was like, I've never drunken before.
Yeah.
Getting just the real facts from Top Blokes it's kind of crazy regarding alcohol.
What was it? What was those kind of facts that like you thought were, that's kind of surprised you?
How quickly it can just send you down a dark path, man.
Yeah.
There's so many more topics in Top Blokes. One more was men's mental health, the vast suicide rates within men.
Yeah.
And the fact that I know some of my friends who have just dealt with depression, suicidal thoughts. I'm just so glad that they're not dead, you know?
Yeah.
I'm so glad that they've come where they are. I guess for another topic as well, which really resonated with me, was I wish we explored this more, was the one with pornography addiction.
Right, yeah.
It's such a big one nowadays. I know so many friends who are addicted to pornography, and you know, all you can do is just try to help them.
It seems to me like someone like yourself, as you said, like you're describing yourself as a leader and stuff like that, wanting to kind of help these lads come through growing up, especially because you're trying to figure yourself out at such a young age, right? Like, and I'm sure you'll go through periods of time, we all do, even my age, being 29 now, there's periods of time where I'm like, okay, who am I? And you adapt and you evolve and change. Yeah. Is that what, you know, Top Blokes helps encourage as well too? Like, did you experience that? Like, you know, you saw some kids at the start that kind of like a little bit quiet or shy or going through some stuff. By the end of it, you noticed that there was like a massive change or a change at all?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Anything that stands out, like anyone that stands out?
Yeah, I don't know if
you don't have to name them.
Yeah,
you
I
don't
was
have
gonna
to
say,
say
I don't know if I can say the name. But
Anonymous.
No, there's this one bloke, I like him. We never spoke before, never. But each time I see him now, I always say, hey, I always get a handshake. And whenever I see him, if he's with his friends, he's always pointing at me and he's saying, this guy's gonna be the next school captain.
Yeah.
And it's just, all I can do, I just smile, because I don't know, I get really flustered. I get really flustered when he does that. A lot of people, like, seeing their interaction with Top Bloke, I really want to see them in the SRC for Year 12. I want to see them like sports captain, colour house captain. I want to see them there.
Yeah.
And you know, I will fight with the coordinator. I will tell him. Get these people in there now.
What are you doing? Yeah, exactly.
Oh no, it's just I can play rugby.
Yeah.
It's just I've always grown up like a bigger kid.
Yeah.
Like in primary school, I was never the athletic type. I guess started high school, I was really overweight. Year 9 is when I made the change, and like now I'm happier than ever.
Yeah.
Really, it was a really good change.
So what do you mean, like just healthier eating and like just healthier lifestyle?
I don't know what it was, but it's just like in Year 9, I just wanted to change because that was my heaviest I'd ever been.
Yeah. What did that do for you? How did that all come about? Like, and how did affect you like mentally as well? Like, were you like when you were, you know, maybe if you were, how'd you feel? Like not just physically, but like you know, mentally. Did you feel?
I used to just cope with it. I'd see fitness content, I'd hear about diets, and I'd go like, nah, not for me. I don't care. But then I just one day I did care, and I don't know what pushed me, but I just decided to make a change, and it was one of the best changes I've ever done, because I went down from 93 down now 72. Which,
whoa.
Yeah.
Bro.
I started eating well. I started journaling my thoughts. I started to try out meditation. I started to just work out, you know, with what limits I have. I'm not at a gym yet. My dad says he's gonna get me a membership next year. But with the limits I had, I made do with what I had. Yeah. Essentially.
How did that build your confidence up there? Because I know for me, especially with body image, like I was always such a skinnier dude, and like of course you're fighting that kind of like masculine figure. You need muscles to be like a masculine bloke and stuff like that. But like only probably in the recent 2-3 years I've been going to the gym, put a bit of size on, feeling a bit more confident about myself. For me, knew that like I'm doing this for myself. Did you feel that kind of like? Did you feel some confidence once you like dropped that weight and you're like, you know, feeling lighter and doing
Definitely. Oh, it's crazy the amount of respect you get once you lose weight.
Yeah.
I still hear it even now, and like I've been doing this for a while, but like you got a lot more respect, which is kind of crazy actually.
Yeah,
When I think about that.
So, going through the program, brother,
Yeah.
you learned how to like, you know, notice the signs of, you know, someone struggling or
Yeah.
whatever. Did you like, what did you learn? How can you identify, you know, if your mates are kind of going through some stuff or whatever? Like, did you?
Oh yeah. Well, I'm a young man myself, so I can kind of tell when they're just suppressing it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you be on call with a few of your mates, like late into the night, and you'll just see like, he'll just go silent. He'll probably put his mic on mute, and he has his camera on, and you can just see it in his face.
Yeah.
And I'll always send a message, say, hey, look, I hope you're good.
Yeah.
And one habit I've gotten into like recently, I think this is a good habit. Whenever I greet my friends at school, I always go in for like a dap up,
Yeah.
and then a hug.
Love that.
Like I always bring in the hug, because like I don't care if it's like 8:30 a.m. in the morning. You don't want to be at school. Like you gotta get that hug, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you might not ask for it, you might not want it at the time, but it's always good for like to get a bit of an embrace, especially from your mates. I don't know. There's something good about that.
Yeah, for sure. I totally get that connection, right?
Yeah,
it's great, man.
Like brotherhood.
Yeah. What about, you know? It seems like you're always there for other people, right?
Yeah.
What about for yourself? Like, what have you learned in the program that you've adapted to yourself and your mental stuff?
Yeah, you're right actually. I'm always looking out for others. I often put myself last. I really did struggle with that at the beginning of the program. My mentor, Kate, really helped me with that actually, because I was always saying like, since I always like put others first, I'm always like I always have high expectations for myself. I'm very ambitious. I always have high expectations for myself. And if I fail to live up to that one expectation, I really used to bash myself up for it. I just go like, come on Salim, you're better than this. You could do it, but you just didn't. I'd really bash myself up like that.
Do you notice where you kind of stem that from? Like, do you notice where that maybe comes from, or?
I guess I'm still kind of like figuring that out. Maybe it's just too much, like expecting too much from myself. I'm always like checking up on like the other people in the program, and she like said like, look Salim, you're a good kid, but how are you, you know? And I said, look, I'm alright. And I felt really, at that moment, I felt really comfortable with Ryan and Kate, who were my two mentors. But since Kate asked me the question, I told her, look, I don't know, like sometimes I fail to live up to my expectations. I feel really bad about it. I feel like crap. And she told me, you know, you just don't care what others think. It's you. It's you. There's no one you need to impress. It's all up to you. You know. She told me how I'm young, but I've already got a really good head on my shoulders. And I guess just having someone compliment me the way I'm complimenting others, it really meant a lot. It really meant a lot. I'm glad Blokes gave me that kind of like information.
Yeah. Do you think it's like vital for like other people to do the program too?
Yeah, definitely. Because Blokes puts you in like a mini community almost.
Yeah.
And like it's a place where you can belong. Like even with my mentors, I saw them earlier today. It's just like it's so exciting to see them again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's actually really good.
How do you feel like it would, like, especially being in your age and stuff like that, and figuring yourself out and going through high school?
Yeah.
Like, why do you think it's so beneficial for like kids your age, teenagers, whatever, coming through high school, figuring it out? Like, what benefits do you reckon it has to their life?
Going back to the point like I'd done earlier, masculinity is very obscured, I guess. No one can really, it's getting kind of lost in a sense in a modern world. And I feel like Blokes can really bring that out of young boys. It can really bring that out, and it can help them in the future. When they grow up, they can recall parts from Blokes that really stuck out to them, or they can just learn like that brotherhood as well. Brotherhood, I guess, is really significant in the growth of a man. Yeah, like you need to have a community of brothers. That's what you need. And then, but that can encourage you as well too. And like, you know, if you're doing something silly, they can pull you up. Or that's true. You know, like that's a big skill. That's a big thing to have in brotherhood. Is that like, you know, men that can be men and, you know, and do great things, but also if there's times of, you know, emotional and times of like silliness. They can pull you up, you know? I love that actually, because you're right. Because especially like when I go into the morning, I always go in for the hug. Like I always make sure my friends are good. I go like, how are you, bro? You good? And it's like, it's so good to just see a genuine smile on my friends' faces.
Yeah.
And like there's this one kid, like I barely used to speak to him, but like I've been speaking to him a lot more recently.
Yeah.
And like each time he sees me, he goes, Salim, Salim, and he comes in for the hug. He's so cute.
That's so good.
But yeah, I love holding each other like accountable.
Yeah.
We have like a little group, and we like if one of us has kind of slipped up, we hold each other accountable. We go like, mate, that's not on.
Yeah. That's
I
awesome.
always go, not on, mate, not on.
That's awesome.
And if we're good, I go like, you're being a top bloke.
That's so
We
good.
love it.
Top bloke, hey, brother.
Yeah.
It has been an absolute pleasure to talk to you.
I'm glad I got to talk to you.
Thank you, yeah, and thank you for sharing, man. It's
No worries.
it's inspiring to hear someone at your age, you know, even as I said, like, you know, regardless of age, it's impressive, man. It's quite impressive.
I'm glad to talk about this kind of stuff, actually.
How's that look? Yeah, you can't say it anyway, so there you go. Cheers,
Thank
bro.
you. Thank you so much.